All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Monday edition, December 12th of the AM show, hosted live on the AlphaMint Discord. I am your host, as always, R2DGen, and I am joined with me by the man who still doesn't know what his CloneX looks like, free market capitalist. Oh, you squeezed it in there. Yeah. So we'll do another take now and start over again. No, honestly, great first weekend of December. Crypto got a little bit shaky there for a bit. Still hasn't recovered, and but definitely not as dire as it seemed for a minute there on was it I think Friday night. Other than that, how was your weekend?
My weekend was great. As crypto pulls back, people tend to shop for NFTs, and we saw a lot of that this weekend. And boy, the sentiment on crypto Twitter could not be more bearish. That is, we were talking about this sentiment flip for a while. I was like, well, at least you're kind of seeing the sentiment shifting.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people kind of base things around the 4 year cycle that's kind of happened in the past, and December was shaping up to be that rush up to euphoria that we've seen a couple times in history. And then this was a bit of a kick in the teeth for that. Stock to flow model is now dead. There's a couple other models that are still looking good and within range, but those things work until they don't, right? And they're very good in hindsight because they exist. But yeah, all is not lost. Like
I don't buy it. I'm a bit of a market historian. When I would do S&P charting for a living, which I will get to this afternoon, JP, if you're listening. I'm sorry I've been slacking. I would go back a lot of times 80 years to gather data. And this is called back testing, right? So you hear a lot of crypto people use it, and everyone feels like a genius in a bull market. I feel like crypto was even in a bull during the bear. In the sense that builders almost never stopped making money. This is just somewhere that's been attracting institutional wealth for a minute. We've talked about this giant wealth transfer that's occurred. So I think that crypto is fine, but at the same time we see sentiment shifts so wildly bullish. Everyone knows the future, and I mean this happened with the internet bubble, right? Like, people saw the potential of the internet, but until Steve Jobs built the iPhone, that potential was not realized. Now we live on the we have some breaking news about R2, who will be entering the Apple family as well. I heard a chuckle back there.
some breaking news.
Yeah, that is breaking news.
Oh.
Buying an iPhone. So the internet did not realize its potential for a long time. So that happens in crypto too. We get ahead of ourselves. We see the potential, and we need sentiment to get very bearish, I believe, before we can make new all-time highs, as counterintuitive as that sounds.
So I actually just thought of something interesting while we were talking about, like, looking at markets like super long term, like 80 years, as you said,
Yeah.
for the traditional markets, and we're about 10 years, 12 years into crypto. I kind of had that like weird epiphany that, like, if you want to compare it to poker, where it was like traditional poker and then internet poker, you had all these people that have been playing for 40 or 50 years live, doing 15, 20 hands an hour. And then all of a sudden internet poker came out, and you had these kids that were doing 4, 5, 600 hands an hour, multi-tabling and all of that stuff. Do you think there's like any kind of like weird parallel that you could draw there with crypto markets being 24/7, 365 days a year, like and like so many participants doing so much trading? Like, do you think there's something there too?
That is such a great analogy, because I played a million hands by the 8th year of my career. Doyle Brunson probably didn't play a million hands until the 60th year of his career. Right?
Oh, I would be willing to bet he hasn't played a million hands live in his life.
Well, he did start playing online poker. That's the only reason I'm assuming he started to catch up or whatever. But definitely not live. No, absolutely not live.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if, like, the fact that crypto is live all the time and there's no stopping it has some different market dynamics of, like.
Yeah, it's a fabulous point. It would definitely be something to do a deep dive on and think about. And I think we see that crypto is a lot more volatile. You have a lot more variance. The cycles seem to be getting shorter, but this is true in traditional markets as well. And I just think it's, exponential in crypto, like you said, 24-hour, everything's a concentrated bet, and you still have so few players globally that I think things get moved around a lot easier than in traditional markets, which have trillions and trillions of dollars in asset value underpinning them.
Yeah, so I'm gonna actually just pull up CoinGecko because we've just had this whole conversation, but yeah, Ethereum kind of hanging out around 4,000. It did break over that $4,000 and has kind of dipped up and down around it, but not the worst sign in the world. And I think based on the bounce that we had, it might be a little bit more than just a dead cat bounce, which I know a lot of people were worried about. What do you think? Do you think that these have kind of recovered enough to feel good about it?
No, I mean, I absolutely not. I think that Ethereum looked like it was bouncing pretty nicely and then dipped under 4,000 again. Obviously, you could zoom the chart out far enough that everything looks bullish, but I think that sentiment has just been reset, and there needs to be a little confirmation bias on the bear side first. So I don't think price goes that much lower, but I don't think we're making new all-time highs on everybody's schedule. So I would just, I think that's a great environment for NFTs, actually, as long as Ethereum really doesn't crash, below, say, 34 or 3,300. I think it's going to be pretty good for crypto. It's just the sentiment needs to be reset, and you finally started to see it this weekend. I actually, Kobe is, if you know Crypto Cobain, Colby, he has an amazing feel for markets, and he's been slightly bearish since Bitcoin was above 60,000, and you could kind of read between the lines. I think he's actually starting to get bullish again.
Did you see the tweet that I sent you yesterday?
Yeah, yes, I did. He is hilarious. But yeah, if you can manage to read between his sarcasm, he makes great calls, and I think he's starting to get bullish again.
Yeah, on October 15th, he kind of said, and this was when like crypto was having a good little run up too. He just said, I would laugh a lot at an all-time high breakout plus 10%, then a savage dip to crush late longers, then real all-time high breakout. And then yesterday he just tweeted out, ha ha ha, that was so funny, LMAO. And like, it kind of does feel like that. There was a lot of margin longs that got crushed there for a minute, huge dip down, and then a sudden bump back up. So, his feel for the market, as you said, is sometimes pretty spot on. He's not afraid to dig up an 18-month-old tweet and say, I told you so.
Right. And you got to understand, anybody buying Bitcoin now is late. And these guys know it. Like, if you're getting into crypto, you're not looking for 10x over the next 9 years. So even if Bitcoin goes to $500,000, what are you doing in there, right? Like, the money has been made in Bitcoin at this point. You need to be, if you are focusing on crypto right now, you need to find concepts that you have conviction in, be early to them, and only bet what you're willing to lose, and you'll do very well.
For sure. Let's shift gears and actually talk some NFTs now. We pulled up an article on Decrypt that we were going to talk about, and then it subsequently got shared in the DGen Dojo a couple minutes later, and a lot of people were having a good conversation about that. So, Decrypt said, did a little bit of a study on the data about minting NFTs and are they the most profitable trade? And they did it's hard because you don't actually have access to their full set. It's a chain analysis report that I might dig into a little bit more, but yeah, they basically confirmed that whitelisted mints are the most profitable play in NFTs. And basically they just said there's a 76% chance of selling an NFT for profit when collectors join the Discord or Telegram community for a project before it drops. And they go on to say Missed out on the whitelist, it's best to wait. Buying and flipping NFTs on the secondary market results in a profit 65% of the time. And perhaps counterintuitively, the hardest way to make a profit selling an NFT is buying it when it mints. Without whitelist pricing, only 29% of sales of NFTs bought when they were brand new resulted in a profit. I think that there's some context that needs to be added to these numbers. I have to believe that whitelist minting is more profitable than that. However, I believe most of this data also includes the fact that if you mint like a failed project, like if you mint and nothing happens with it, there's no volume on the secondary, kind of like you said with the baby toads or whatever, you're not selling that. That is total loss. So I think maybe when you aggregate that data actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. General George S. Patton once said that there's lies, damn lies, and statistics, right? And I firmly believe you can manipulate numbers to show anything you want. And I just think that this happens in markets all the time, right? I mean, there is an account in FinTwit called Chart Crimes, which literally just retweets people who misinterpret data and make ridiculous claims to support their confirmation bias. So I think when you read a lot of this, you realize that and I don't think it's ill-intentioned. I just think that this data is skewed by the fact that most people hold NFTs to the for the moonshot, right? Like, yes, traders are a new phenomena in the game, but I believe most mints, at least, until the bearish period, were profitable after mint and traded above mint price. But did people sell then? No. I think people tried to hold for higher prices. They eventually went to zero, and that's what's manipulated these numbers a bit. It's still interesting data if you understand how to view all statistics as biased towards one way, and then just using that in your own data sets, taking all these things into account. It's never one variable, it's multiple ones.
It also doesn't outline how profitable. I mean, there was a little thing that says, like, a lot of the whitelist mints were able to be sold for double. But of those 29% that were sold for profit, like, it doesn't really describe that, like, a large portion of them were for 10x or 15x or 100x, which definitely happens too, right? And when you're playing the mint game, you're kind of playing the VC game too. You're spreading your chips down for a low cost basis, with the expectation that a bunch of them are going to go to zero and a handful of them are going to make back the losses, and then a whole bunch more. So those numbers kind of do make sense to me, but a little bit more context and fleshing out probably could have been done by Decrypt, but it's still an interesting article, nonetheless. It wasn't done in any kind of bearish way. It's a pretty easy read.
Yeah, if you manage to hold one blue chip, it makes up for everything else that goes to zero. But that usually takes more than 24 hours to play out.
Yeah, usually
to reach blue chip status. Usually, I heard blue chip being talked about some new projects that launched over the weekend, so it usually takes a little longer than 24 hours.
Yeah, and then like the article kind of finishes off, if one includes those gas fees and profitability calculations, buying newly minted NFTs become a much less attractive investment than one would initially think. It also appears that some experienced users employ bots to purchase NFTs as soon as minting begin, resulting in more failed transactions, in some cases by the bots themselves, making profitable trading even more difficult for the average user. So a little bit to unpack there, but I think the most important thing that I would say, and like it is so important that you do it, factor in your gas prices when you mint, and like use that in your cost basis, because it, like, you can't say that if you minted something for 0.05 but you actually paid 0.1 for it and you exit at 1.5, like, you didn't 3x, you got a 50% gain.
Yeah, we minted these Santas for free over the weekend, which cost $65 each.
Right, yeah. It is part of your cost basis. You cannot ignore the fact that gas chews it up. If you do, you will have a skewed view on how profitable your trading strategies are, and it's not going to reflect in your wallet. You're going to say, I keep selling these things for 2x. I keep selling these things for 3x. Like, why is my portfolio not reflecting it? Well, you're paying gas on everything that you do. It is part of the equation, and the OpenSea and royalties as well.
Wait, I thought you couldn't go broke taking a profit.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of market where, like, sneaking out a 10 or a 20% profit probably means it's negative EV. Honestly, like, that seems really juicy in a traditional market, but no, you got to be higher than that for sure.
I'm definitely higher than that.
What's that?
Nothing.
Oh. You damn kids and your marijuana. Uh, Next piece of news that I thought was just kind of funny. Someone paid $450,000 to be Snoop Dogg's Metaverse neighbor. I read that article and I think this is a bullish sign for Metaverse land property plays, but I kind of just said, like, that's it. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I was just thinking about that, and I caught myself. I'm like, oh, that's still a good sale for NFTs and metaverse property. Like, somebody made a good chunk of change, but I did have that initial, like, when I read that headline, it was like, oh, that seemed cheap.
Well, speaking of marijuana, Snoop Dogg had a land auction over the weekend in the metaverse, and people definitely paid up to be around him. But when you think about how very high-end neighborhoods around the world get such a premium compared to a similar house in a not desirable neighborhood, these neighborhoods tend to be dominated by celebrities and the wealthy, and this is going to be the same thing in the metaverse. If you are part of a big project like Kongs or Punks or something like that, you want to buy land next to the Kongs land, right? You're trying to be part of these communities, which are gated, and these land grabs are no joke. I think the next meta that we're going to see are companies, or I shouldn't say companies, I should say opportunists realizing that digital land is hot, and that's how they should be formatting the next 100 derivatives that come out over the next month. But when you see all these, you've seen sand I think it flipped mana the other day, at least market cap wise, and the amount of sand land that's being sold when there isn't even anything there yet. At least you could walk around Decentraland, right? Like, there's nothing there with sand, but I believe there's huge potential. I think land in the metaverse is going to go for as much as land in the real world, and that is a great play and a great trend, I think, for next year.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be. Looking more into those plays, at least as a longer term hold, like something to. Which is ironic because that's what a lot of people do in real world, right? Like, you accumulate a bit of capital and you sink it into property to just let it sit there and accumulate rent or just value as something stable.
If Kongs are taking in revenue on their land and you own a piece of that land, do you get a percentage of the taxes? I mean, this is how these economies are going to be set up, and people are going to be very happy to be part of them.
Yeah. I mean, even just interesting to kind of go on a little bit of a tangent, but Balaji is one of those big people that are talking about decentralized nation states and whatnot, right? And I don't know if he's talking full on metaverse or 3D realities or whatever, but he is somebody that talks a lot about those concepts, and they really do seem to be coming to life in real time. So, all right, let's go to WGMI really quickly. Bears Deluxe having a really good week. 1 hour timepiece, which we touched on last week, is still doing well. Women in Weapons having a good run still. It was down a little bit from what it was before, but yeah, the Apes continue a pretty good run up on their floors, which we are going to talk about later on in the show. In the last couple days, yeah, nothing really of note on there. We had a bunch of good mints going on in AlphaMint, though, and that doesn't really show up on WGMI. The first thing that came to attention was the Ape Kids Club, which was a pretty gassy mint that happened. I think the base cost with the gas was about 0.17. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that has that ran up to a point 0.7 even after the reveal, and they're sitting 0.55 right now, and that's pretty bullish for a project to be kind of sitting there after it reveals, after the mint is all gone and everything like that. So,
Well,
30. Yeah, go.
this is part of the Kongs tank, which is a basically, an incubator for the Kongs to create new projects. So this is a very high profile supported project being run by one of the more high profile mice in the mice room. He's not an original dev on the project, but he has helped them out with a lot of work since. So he's very lauded in the anonymized community as well. ZenApes, I think they look really cute, but they don't make the best PFPs. When we talk about is something PFPable, it's because the apes are so small. I think though some are very clean and translate to the PFP, but I don't think this is that type of play. This is definitely going to be some sort of DeFi angle here. I haven't done a very deep dive, but it was the most high profile drop of the weekend. 0.17 is not what most people paid. Most people paid between 0.11 and 0.14, though some people did bang out like 1,500 gwei just to make sure that they got one, and they are sitting pretty comfortably in profit right now. So nice play there, and there were some other high-profile drops this weekend as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly finish off with the Ape Kids Club. Always a bullish sign to see some pretty big purchases on there. The highest purchase of the weekend was 25 ETH. And then there's a bunch that are in the double-digit range. And it looks like there's some gold coins for legendary Ape Kids Clubs, which I'm assuming are going to be one of ones. I don't know if that's like the Mecca style of doing things where they're like, you don't get your one of one yet, but we promise it's coming.
Yeah, I mixed up the projects, but I was talking about ZenApes before, so put a pin in that. But this one
okay.
also, yeah, this one had great support from the actual Bored Ape community. Like, it's so funny. We've seen everything ape related just rip this weekend, with even ape wives, which are quite handsome NFTs, get up to I think a 1.75 floor over the weekend. I think it's a relatively small collection, which is why it can be juiced that way. But look, a lot of these apes, they want wives for their apes. And now they want, they want children for their apes. And I love the ape kids and the aesthetic of the baby projects better than the ape wives at the same time. But man, everything ape is rallying, especially if you have the community behind it. I think this is what's so valuable about these NFTs as fraternities, in a sense, right? Because we've known for years about Freemasons or very large college fraternities, how if you go into a job interview or if you start a business, you get support from all these people around the country who are just part of this club. And, the idea is you help out people who are in this club. That's how these NFTs are, right? If you bring a viable project into these alpha rooms, people will support you if it's not, some cheap, low-effort cash grab. So really, that's where the value, I think, is in these communities, especially the ones that aren't necessarily Bored Apes and building an actual yacht club for you to go hang out at.
Yeah, no, and you know what I appreciate? That this is obviously a little bit of a derivative play. It does get the stamp of approval from the Bored Apes, but they also made some obvious effort to do something different too. Like, it has the same style, like face and whatnot, and like the same kind of character features, but they have a completely different graphical style that they're working with, and it suits the fact that these are like baby apes. They're bright, they're vibrant, a lot of unique traits to them, and yeah, honestly, I'm looking at them all side by side on the OpenSea page, and they look good.
Yeah, the generalization that all derivatives are bad is very wrong and will cost you money over time. Knowing which derivatives to play are some of the best, moves in this market.
Well, I'm gonna say guilty as charged because I didn't play Wolf Game for the fact that I was a little salty about that. Never mind. Moving on. Another great drop that happened was the Flower Girls collection. This was one that kind of just snuck up on everybody. Gary V poured himself a glass of wine and started minting these. His words, not mine. And he was going hard on Twitter promoting this project, giving them shout outs everywhere, left, right, and center, buying more. His purchases were lighting up like whale watching feeds. And he was not shy in expressing his enjoyment of this project. It didn't mint out in any kind of gas war. If you got in a reasonable amount of time, these were 0.05 plus a little bit of gas. I think most people's cost base is sitting at 0.06. And they've had some run ups and run downs, and right now is kind of on the uptrend, sitting at 0.142 pre-reveal. These were supposed to reveal last night, 24 hours after the drop, but they did end up pushing them back a little bit further. I don't know if this is one of those let's keep the hype plays going. My gut.
Long reveal? I've never heard of such.
Well, yeah, if you're going to call 48 hours long reveal, but like even just the process of pushing it back, you would think that these are ready to go, but I don't know if it's a perfectionist thing or if it's like let's keep some hype under the wheels of this. My gut is telling me that there's more to come with this project. Gary V has really committed to talking about it a lot.
Bag.
Oh, I do own a couple. I have sold it. I have sold a few. So like I'm basically just at break even right now. But no, I mean look at the signs. Logan Paul bought a shitload of these, and you don't see Logan Paul aping into too much stuff. Gary V continued to buy more and continues to push them. And if you were watching the activity feed, you saw a lot of very large genie sweeps into anonymous holders' wallets. I feel like the way that this is shaping up, that there might be a little bit more of a celebrity train hopping in, especially because it is a doxed female artist that has been in the art game for a long time. These plays, just as pure plays, tend to do pretty well, especially when you have some huge verifiable names involved with them too.
Flower Girl.
Yeah, so you didn't mint them clearly.
I did not.
Yeah,
And
you don't have enough to say on it then.
now yogis and space loot can take a back seat in my sarcasm train. It will be Flower Girls from now on, but I'll let that play out first.
Well, you're gonna have to be sarcastic with a lot of people because a lot of alpha minters did partake in this, and it's looking like a pretty decent little profit play right now. I know some people hold a lot of them, so
To the moon.
yeah, I guess so. Humans of the Metaverse, you're probably a little more well versed on this, no pun intended. But that dropped. That is a project that Moon Lounger Jolly Dinger is an advisor to. He's been kind of giving us some information on that, and they look pretty cool. It was a successful drop. The floor is sitting at about 0.12 right now, and they have some cool kind of metaverse concepts. You want to dig a little bit deeper into that?
There were a lot of alpha min members that got in on this one. Jolly Dinger is awesome, and like you said, he's an advisor on this project. There are tokenomics and gamification here, so this is beyond just the PFP themselves. It seems they've created a society within the metaverse. Each NFT is assigned a job within this society, which can be things like broker or sex worker, and these jobs will earn different amounts of their underlying tokens. So this is some interesting gamification. The rarity of your job or the how high your status is will earn you more of the underlying token. I don't think I've ever heard Jolly speak so well of a project, and I know he is advising for them, but he does not just go advise for any old project. I think a lot of people were happy after the reveal, and it looks to be pretty successful, and I know they have some other cool stuff on the roadmap coming up soon, so stay tuned if you're long.
Yeah, there definitely seem to be some higher profile jobs going for more ETH, and that seems to be one of the underpinning qualities that make these valuable. There were some one-of-ones, and yeah, we had a lot of fun kind of watching the reveal and everyone kind of scrambling to see what they had. what's valuable, and even just using the genies, or sorry, the cyber babies sniping tool, trying to pick some up off the floor that were good. But yeah, they're doing some volume, 300 right now, 320 ETH over the past 2 days, and I look forward to seeing what they end up doing with this project.
Yeah, it seems very exciting. So we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, ZenApes was the one that everybody got up very early for if you were in the US of A or Canada, or I guess anywhere in those time zones. But yeah, minted at 7 a.m. The public sale was at 7 a.m. Eastern time on yesterday morning, was it? I don't even
Yeah,
remember.
I guess maybe they did this to target low gas, or it's a European team, maybe, or Asian team.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you're offering up 1,200 NFTs, one per transfer, and your floor price was sitting at, I think it was like 0.35 when the mint was happening. You're gonna get a gas war regardless. But yeah, a couple alpha minters sent it and got some mints. I think Sab was the recipient of 4 ZenApes, which was great for him. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's not quite ripping the way that I think everyone was hoping for it to. But it's sitting at point two, and you kind of touched on it earlier in reference to Ape Kids Clubs. But there's some Kong's relationship there, right?
Yeah, exactly. I made a speech about this about the wrong project, but this is an incubator project for Kongs, and the developer is a very well respected anonymized community member. So this one seemed to be the highest profile drop into the weekend. They don't PFP very well, I think, because the monkey is very small. But this is going to be a DeFi play. They are based in Australia, which is probably explains the 7 a.m. launch time, and a lot of them look really cool. I think it definitely is a project that's going to have some interesting items on its roadmap because it feels more like a DeFi play than anything else, which is the meta now. So.
Yeah, they do look cool. I do like the art style of them. Maybe a little bit busy for profile pictures, but some of the cleaner ones I've seen people use them for, and they look fine. I don't mind them at all. But the traits look good. The art is they pack a lot of detail into a small amount of pixels. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. And I think that one will probably be one to watch for in the future too.
Yeah.
So, Rusty Hogs was one that kind of had some speed bumps going on with it. I guess they launched their pre-sale mint, and the mint was just a straight transfer
Yeah.
to a wallet. The team and devs did verify that it was their contract and it was their wallet, but it was yeah, not set up properly, and they were promising everybody that sent money to it that they would receive an NFT, which started to get a little weird. Obviously, that's one of the red flags that you look for when it's a scam, is that you actually want it to be a mint function, not a transfer function. So a bit of a rocky start to that project. I guess they did end up refunding everybody and sending the mint.
And boy, you should have heard them congratulating themselves for the swift refund that they sent to everyone. Are you kidding me?
Oh, is this a pat on the back? I'm not gonna lie.
Like,
I don't. I'm not in the Discord.
yeah, there are just so many red flags here to imply that this is not a long-term project. Like, I think that the pigs look fine. The backgrounds make no sense because it's a much finer pixel detail than the pigs themselves. The art's okay, but I don't think anybody in the metaverse wants to be a fat pig as their like personality that they go around as. So while this is
You'd be
decent
surprised.
as a PFP, at least it does translate into a PFP. I don't think that this team knows their head from their ass given the announcements that they've made. You should have seen when everything went down. You are lucky to be whitelisted.
Oh, is that
Everybody
them? Yeah, yeah,
grateful.
yeah. You
Yeah,
should be
I mean
grateful.
they are, and there are I know it may be nitpicky, especially on the internet where it's now considered rude to point out spelling errors. These are companies selling $2 million products to the public. Can you at least fucking spell check your announcement before you put it out there with spelling errors when it's like you're asking all of us to transfer shit tons of money to you? It really bothers me. So they are minting today at 2 p.m. and all that said, it's a 3,000 supply. I believe it's fully whitelisted at 0.08. So this feels to me like a situation very similar to Draka, where it's almost fully whitelisted. There isn't rabid demand from the out. Like, it's a 10,000 person Discord. In this day and age, that's not a lot. I mean, Phoenix had a 10,000 person Discord and they minted 800 of their 5,000, right? Swampverse had a 40,000 person Discord, which is, I think, why they did well. And look at the Littles, which was similar. But this, I don't know. I mean, I think people are going to sit there and watch the secondary to decide if they're going to mint, and that's usually a negative feedback loop as far as it goes with these things.
Yeah, whitelisting is an art for sure, and the fully whitelisted project, I don't think we've seen it too often lately. So I'm gonna see if they can recover. I'm not part of it. I'm not on their whitelist or anything. The art looks okay. Yeah, I have no problem with them. But I didn't realize that this was going to be such a touchy subject for you, so I'm glad that you got that out of your system.
It's just it's a very, if the art can be great, but if the team is amateurs, like you're really going to hold this JPEG, with an amateur scene, that it's a very, very similar roadmap. There's nothing unique here. Like, the Littles is going to be revolutionary in its interoperability. So is something like World Wide Web, right? There is nothing unique about Hogs. Hogs would work if they were very, very desirable PFPs people wanted to be in the metaverse. Sure, if that's true, you can take a similar model and do this. I don't know what... I'm whitelisted, and I am going to do exactly what I just said to you. I am going to watch the secondary. If there is some magic demand for them that I don't know about, sure, I'll mint it and take the ETH, but I'm not holding these for a long time. And if I'm wrong in these, Moon, good for anybody who holds them. But
yeah, you know what? It is the one interesting dynamic about a fully whitelisted mint process is that the secondary can be a good indicator of obviously... Well, that's not true. That happens in other projects as well. But I mean, doubly so. Like, if there's all of a sudden a huge onset of demand for people that don't want to wait for everyone to mint out and they want to start accumulating these, it can be a good sign to mint. But I think that I think it does create too much of a standoff in terms of like who's going to mint first, how many are people going to mint? Oh, it's not immediately minting out. Like, ooh, this might not be a good sign. Like, there's weird dynamics with a fully whitelisted mint.
They put out an announcement over the weekend saying a number of people have DM'd us and told us that they don't have the money to mint, so they're not going to. So we're going to give their whitelist spot to somebody else. This would not be happening in a high profile. If this were a high profile mint, people would be asking their friend. They would do anything to get that ETH on there.
Who's DMing them saying like, "Hey, I got a whitelist spot, but give it to somebody else anyways"? That seems weird. There's something weird about that, right?
That is not the sign of a team that expects rabid demand for their NFT.
Yes. Okay, anyways, speaking of not a lot of rabid demand, really quickly, just going to touch on Immortal Phoenix. Didn't do so hot. Was 5,000 were supposed to be minted, 800 of them minted. It has pretty much fallen flat, so just as kind of a follow-up to a project that we've mentioned a few times on this show, maybe a little bit of a dud there, so we'll see what happens with that. Don't think we need to. You don't have anything else to add with that, right? Yeah. Couple drops coming up today that some of the members are excited about is the ArtBlocks Curated Gazers. I don't know if everyone's excited about it, but it is always fun to watch and see what happens with ArtBlocks. They, at this point, seem to be either doing really well or really poorly. It is a curated. It is by Matt Kane, who does have quite a big following from some of the biggest players in the space. I don't know if you had a chance to look at this, but it is dropping at 1 p.m. Eastern. Their typical Dutch auction is going on 15 ETH down to zero point 0.1 ETH every 5 minutes. There's the interval. And, sometimes these create a good flipping opportunity, and sometimes they're just kind of dead in the water. Any takes on them?
Well, it'll be interesting to see if the wavelength phenomena is because of Caleb and it's a bubble. No, I don't mean a market bubble. I mean it's their own little world that's doing well over there, or whether this is going to translate to all Gen art and see if maybe it has its own trend. This may be a decent barometer of that, so I'm sure we'll be watching it in voice chat today, as a few AlphaMint members may want to try and play that flip.
Yeah, Gen Art as it's been pretty stagnant. Wavelength was kind of the one shining beacon for Gen Art lately, but yeah, I don't know. I think that I think there's too much. I think there's too much focus right now on games, on interoperability, on tokenomics, all of these different things that seem to be appealing to everyone playing the NFT market right now, and Gen Art is really kind of taking a back seat in the process.
Skate to where the puck is going to be, I say all the time, and I think I'm a very, very big long-term bull on Gen Art, and one of the main reasons is that the last leg was due to venture capitalists and hedge funds getting in, and they don't let their bags die. They're going to come back for round 2, and it's going to be harder than round 1 because they're going to have showed all their clients, hey, you guys want to get into this NFT stuff? Look what we can do. And, they're coming back for the Gen Art, and they're going to come back really aggressively.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that today. ArtBlocks Curated always mints out, always, not always a successful post-market, secondary market. Another really interesting drop that's happening today is Vox. That is happening at 5 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, can't do math real quick there. This one is interesting. You had a chance to look at that? It is purchased with Gala. There's 8,888 of them. This is a team with a track record. They do have existing projects out there, and this one is called their Mirandis project. The interesting thing about this is that it is a 0.88 mint.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I believe they can command that price. It seems that their previous drop is sitting at a 2E floor.
Yep.
At least it got it.
Track record of success for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So this is another high-profile drop today that I think does play into this Metaverse theme. We'll be watching it closely.
Yeah, there's going to have some utility as a play-to-earn kind of game. You do have to purchase it, as I said, with Gala, so there's a little bit of a conversion there. Might be a good opportunity to do that and then flip it on the secondary, for people that couldn't be bothered to do Gala, but obviously NFA there. Expensive drop. They're poised to make a shitload of money on this today, but it'll be interesting to see if the market kind of accepts this, what kind of pace it ends up minting out at, and I don't know. I'm debating on whether or not I want to mint this.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere near anything I have to pay for in Gala. I tip my hat to all that will make money today, as most of the things that I am emotionally against moon. So that's a very good contra for everyone listening out there.
Yeah, fair enough. I think they kind of look cool though. Let's talk about finally an expensive project that minted out recently. It is 3D and it is your favorite topic, CloneX. You have officially won the bet with Shubang. I did see in the AM show chat that the pass has been transferred over to you. How are you feeling off your big win, and how are you feeling now that it is a week and CloneX still hasn't revealed?
I mean, it's bittersweet. There's a lot of burden in being right all the time. Kind of, just cements that problem in my life. But I persevere, and I thank everybody for their support during this time.
Yeah. So what the floor is sitting at what point 3.33 right now, somewhere in there?
Yeah, I think it's a 3.3. CloneX had a pretty nice sweep yesterday. It seems that both CloneX, Takashi, and other people are starting to buy pre-reveal. We're wondering, is it going to follow the same pattern as most drops? It's 99% of stuff falls after reveal, but there is stuff that doesn't. So we always like to wonder, like, what is the template for that? And so much FUD and so much, just absolute bearishness over CloneX from the drop, the subsequent days after. You just wonder if all the paper-handed sellers were able to get out. The one factor you have to consider is that these are mostly held by whales. And what whales are going to do after the reveal is start to dump commons and buy rares, right? So we're going to see the floor theoretically start to drop as, 10, 20, 30, 100 are paid for the more desirable CloneX. So, I mean, we expect that pattern to hold, but maybe this is one of those scenarios where it doesn't fall immediately after reveal just because there was already so much FUD. Are all the sellers gone already? We don't know. We'll see.
And you had a bit of a writing on the wall moment, I believe. Was that this morning or yesterday?
Well, okay, so our inside man indicated that the CloneX reveal is today. So I am on watch for that. But the official copy from CloneX themselves says quote unquote this week. So we will see if it is today or later this week. But yesterday, as I was driving downtown to the club, we were near the National Arts Club of New York, which is a very nice area near Gramercy Park, and there's a lot of nice townhouses there. And as I was turning and I glanced over there, as bright as could be, on the wall was a gigantic neon Murakami flower that this person was displaying, which, probably cost them $100,000 or more, but I took it as a sign that a Murakami is going to end up in my wallet either today or later this week. So,
Well, you've been
literally a sign.
diamond handing everything leading up to this. So all the best luck to you, and I think that would be a gigantic, obviously a gigantic win. But I can't think of a bigger CloneX supporter that deserves it. So.
Well, I'll be immediately selling that rare and turning it into a punk or a con. So take that for what you will.
You heard it here first. All right, and then lastly, I just want to finish up before we get to the Q&A session, and I guess you, if anyone wants to jump up here, you could start raising your hands. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that ended up buying a AlphaMint pass yesterday. We dropped the new wave of them. There was a slight price increase, but as we kind of mentioned before, we don't try and be too aggressive with those. But yeah, I think we're sitting at about 50 out of the 111 that we dropped already claimed. So it was really great to see. That's always really exciting to welcome some new members to the AlphaMint community. The launch wasn't without its a little bit of hiccups, though. We did yesterday morning end up kind of seeing a large stream of bots start entering the Discord, so we did kind of have to jump on a CAPTCHA very briefly while they entered, and we had to lay the banhammer down to some pretty obvious bots. But also with Collabland kind of changing their system up, there has been a couple hiccups where it's been removing the roles for anyone. If you're ever having any problems seeing all of the Discord channels, please, there's nothing sinister going on and whatnot. Just give us, anyone on the team, a DM. We also opened up at the bottom an onboarding channel that's in the AlphaMint base camp that is visible to literally everyone. You don't have to verify CAPTCHA. You don't have to be a Moon Lounge member. And you can always just ping anybody in there if you're having any issues with any of the processes. Discord is not without its faults in those regards, and we're doing our best to make everything as frictionless as possible, but fortunately it was only an issue with a couple people, so to them I thank you for your patience with that. But yeah, amazing to welcome a whole bunch of new members in there, and yeah, we appreciate it. All right, on that note, I think if anybody wants to jump up and do some Q&A with us, Free Market, if you're still there, I see you're muted. While we're waiting for some hands going up, Punk's having a little bit of a tough time out there lately.
Well, speaking of me wanting to buy a punk, I was absolutely disgusted with the punk community over the weekend and their response to apes, potentially flipping them, which is pretty close to happening. We did talk about it at the end of last week on the show, but
Yeah, we were first in line on that train. Actually, even just a couple weeks ago, we had the debate that the Bored Apes flip was coming.
yeah, it's going to happen. There is so much FUD around punks right now. Some of it justified, some of it not. And then there is so much good PR and momentum behind apes that it just felt pretty obvious. They're definitely going to be flipped, but seeing the punk community respond the way they did over the weekend was vomit-inducing. You know, from first it was a bunch of snide comments dissing the art of the apes, and then after that there were some pretty shoddy memes, and then they all started posting a picture of their punk with the number above it, like they had all just been deleted from the chain, and it was some sort of, memorial, something like I stand with my punk or whatever. And finally, the final argument was, you're all just a bunch of fucking idiots because you can't afford a punk to begin with. So this was just a really good look all around for the punk community, and I can't imagine why people are dumping those JPEGs and buying other things. That said, I will be shopping for a punk. I am a contrarian by nature. I always say you gotta skate to where the puck's gonna be, and people are getting way too bearish on punks. The one correct point punks were making over the weekend is that their value trades on the historic aspect, and not that they were first, just the fact that they were the first ones the mainstream recognized. I think that's the only thing that they basically ride on now, and they don't need anything else, right? They really don't. Like, it is the IP potential for apes is fabulous. The utility they're creating is fabulous, but that's Bored Apes. Punks don't have to be Bored Apes. This pressure on Larva Labs to do the same thing is ridiculous. The FUD is mounting, and I think, the punk community is going to be a force for a very long time. The builders, the collectors, they still reside there, and if you intend to be involved in the NFT community in a big way, I see a lot more value in buying a punk than an ape. Now, if you intend to be cool as a motherfucker and hang out with Post Malone and shit, I would buy an ape, right? These are different markets, but the idea that punks are dead because they're not doing what apes are doing is the stupidest argument.
So I just I pulled up a tweet from Punk4156, who has a large following on Twitter, and much to my delight, I saw you at the top there shilling the Begans, which I totally wasn't even expecting when I pulled this tweet up. But I think that there's some validity into what they're saying, and like I think that there's a bit of a mutiny, not in against apes in some regard, but just in Larva Labs kind of just ability to just do the wrong things, it seems. I don't know. So let me just read this out. It says, I love punks, but the copyright issue kind of broke my heart. I held deep eight figures of punks, and the devs unfollowed me when I suggested it. Now that's kind of what gets me. It just seems petty. You know what I mean? Wouldn't respond to DMs. If you have somebody that's holding 8 figures of assets in your brand, and is probably one of the biggest champions of said brand, like, at least have the conversation with them, I think. Is that not fair?
I think it feels like you're not owning your decisions. Like, you're not willing to have the conversation with people about why you believe your decision is right. Like, own it. Like, it seems like they're going, oh shit, yeah, these people are right, but if we just are quiet long enough, it'll all go away. And that's just not how you want to respond here. Larva Labs has certainly made some mistakes this year relative to where the NFT market was heading, because I think a lot of people saw that direction, but I don't think this reflects on the punks collection long term. Does it reflect on Larva Labs' maybe ability to read the market, adapt themselves, and create new products? Maybe. I mean, that's yet to be seen. I think they're very smart people who are all watching this and having the same conversation internally right now, unless they're just so, egoically consumed they don't care. I mean, So.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta believe that some of the biggest Ferrari collectors in the world have some pretty direct access to, the people running the show at Ferrari too, right? Like, it just entertain the conversation with them, invite them in, continue to build that community. You just don't want that community to mutiny on you. I think it's just an indictment of the way that Larva Labs has conducted themselves, more or less. We can have the debate on whether or not what they're doing is right, till the cows come home. Like, there's a million ways, and I actually completely agree with you. They don't have to do the things that Bored Apes are doing. I just think that there's a lot of punks that have been strongly convicted holders of it, and this is obviously a huge dollar value as well attached to them. And I just think that they're seeing, the Bored Apes have a lot of fun, a lot of engagement with their community, and they're not getting the same love from the CryptoPunks.
Look, when you're the most popular kid on the block and some other kid, moves to your high school and becomes the football star, I don't care who you are, you're going to be butthurt. I don't care how brave a face you put on in public. It's all ego. Everybody falls prey to it. And I just think that doesn't mean Larva Labs can't respond. And it also doesn't mean that Larva Labs should respond by doing what other projects are doing. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, I could tell you firsthand from running a restaurant and being very like customer facing in terms of like that. You have regular base of clientele that come in, and they do end up spending a lot of money proportionally to other people that come in, and it does require you to give them a certain amount of time. And it's not like a shitty sales pitch. I'm not doing that because they spend a lot of like money. It's just that engagement, and it's something that they seek as well, right? Like, they just want to feel like they are valued as contributing members of a community, and it just.
What business doesn't do that? I mean, every business takes care of their largest customers. They give concessions, they give discounts, they give special customer service, concierge service. I mean, this is standard practice. So.
Yeah, and these things are so community driven that I don't know. It got me when I saw that the dev team unfollowed him. That was like the biggest sign to me that like something is amok. Now, obviously, we don't have the full side of the story. We have no idea what he said in the DMs. It could have been aggressive. It could have been entitled. I have no idea. But it's just, there was a red flag there for me for sure. Yeah. So, on that note, Cass, GM, how was your weekend?
Yeah, weekend was all right. Weekend was okay.
Anything good besides the Santas, of course.
I bought I kind of minted quite a bit of
them. They're fun. I mean, they're not profitable, but they're fun.
No, do you know what? It was I think what got me was the sneakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like
great shoes.
Yeah, I kind of saw the New Balances and the Superstars, and I'm a big Superstars fan.
It's a team of apes, right? Didn't you show me that art too? It's like there's like 5 apes or 4 apes on the team.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was just adjusting a volume level there.
With the Rad Santas, did you show me a picture of the team? It was like 4 apes.
I actually know nothing about that project.
Yeah, there's a few apes on the Rad Santa team, but they didn't seem to promote it at all. So I find that actually heartening. You know what I mean? I'm happy. Like, maybe they were just like, let's put it out there. Let's see if it mints out. We're genuine, and we're just not trying to do anything besides like put this cool thing out there.
Yeah, and I think that's what I really liked about it, man.
Yeah.
Like, I really did like that. Also, there was that video of you guys, man. Like where I saw, well, not, I don't know if it's you guys or not, but there was this video that was, I think it was last week, with this NFT project called Star Wolves. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but yeah, I think I found the one that I want. So the hunt is going to be on.
I think it took like 6 minutes for someone to isolate every sneak peek in that video and like post the gallery shot of all the wolves, which I always find so impressive. Like, You don't have to do anything. You put out just the smallest clue. The smart people will put it together and be like, "Here, this is it. Is this what you meant?"
Yeah, 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 it is unreal. What's your guys' thoughts on the whole Evo snails thing?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I've played it very sparingly. Like I have one listed right now, if I'm being honest with you, but I missed kind of the hype cycle on the pump. But it never captured me personally, and I don't particularly know why, but I know a bunch of moon loungers were playing it quite a bit and had some really great success in it. Free market has definitely been more involved in it than I have, but I guess racing kind of debuted to not a ton of fanfare, and then their phase three, which is the plots, seems to be it seems to be pretty quiet.
Yeah, it seems to be stalling. I think also what happened was, um, a lot of people raced, and because they didn't win, they got a bit salty, and yeah, the whole hype I think kind of died from that because I won my race and I was like, oh my God, this is cool. So I got a free plot of land and I was like, yeah, this is sick. But I think to a lot of other people, especially like the base snails, where you can figure out that you're not really gonna win a race with a base snail, or anything like sub 23, 24 level. So I think that's why I planked a little bit. But see how it goes. If they go to layer two, might make it a bit cheaper to kind of do things. I think same as Ether Orcs, which I was really impressed that they did that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I saw everybody migrate over to L2 over the weekend. They went into that magic portal, which was some pretty cool animation. And my orc actually got back from raiding this morning. He brought me 36 bone shards, useless. He could have brought me up to 60, but I sent him out raiding again, and he's bringing back 50. But it's going to be in 16 days. So.
well, that's the funniest thing because I'm waiting one more day for mine to kind of show. At the moment, it's showing 23 bone shards, so I'm hoping by the end of it, it will be more than
Nope.
that.
No,
No?
no, you see right away what it's gonna bring back for you. It
Oh,
doesn't say.
really? So,
Yep.
so when you see it, if you come out of the raid, do you lose it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I believe you lose your bone shards. I don't think you claim what you would have accrued up to that point. I believe you got to stay there the whole time, or you lose the whole shebang.
Right, okay then. So that's fun. So it looks like I'm going to be staying on E for another another like 16, 17 more days. Okay, cool.
I know, I know. I was so because you're supposed to have an advantage over level 75, and I have a level 120 doing my rating, and he brought back the second least amount you could bring. He was useless, as Shubang would say in the famous words.
Oh,
Useless.
another thing as well. Was it Cameo? The guy from Cameo?
Oh, Hard Rock Nick.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody saw over the weekend, but Hard Rock Nick landed on AlphaMint Cobain. Did you see this?
Yeah. What was that Friday? Yeah, it was Friday night because we were all just kind of hanging out, and somebody jumped into. We still don't know who it was. Definitely one of the Moon Loungers just playing a little bit of a prank or a troll.
Rajesh or Trades error, but they're both denying it to the hilt. Yet Rajesh magically pulled out another Hard Rock Nick video like 3 minutes later. So
Yeah. But yeah, he was yelling at the camera when Moon Lounge, when passes drop, which was fucking awesome. Like those two and the band Rajesh one, like I mean, those were just some incredible highlights.
They were classic. And then the last highlight, which I really did embarrass myself, and Novo from here, where he posted out on some tweet. I think there was another wolf derivative, and I call it derivative, although you know Star Wars haven't released yet. But they were derivatives.
They're derivatives in our hearts.
No, they are derivatives. Period, man. Not even in our hearts. But it was when Novo said they must have put howl, and Novo replied more like a whimper. And I just couldn't stop laughing in the supermarket. Everyone thought I lost the plot. I was just in stitches. Yeah, it's absolutely stitches. I do apologize to everyone. But yeah,
We've seen about 8 wolf derivatives pop up over the last few weeks, and most of them have stayed kind of away from the Star Wars branding and vibe. Yet this brand new project came right out with an exclamation point HAL as one of their first tweets, and they were quickly ratioed by quite
And
the
then
angry
deleted
cat
it.
wolf. Yeah, and then deleted it because they saw they were being ratioed. But you know, that's
I kind of
nature
added
of the
my
beast.
piece. I know I added my piece, but yeah, yeah,
Rally the troops.
that was my highlight.
Ghost, I saw you had your hand up earlier. Don't know if you still want to come up, but I did invite you up here to speak if you wanted to.
If he comes up, I'll go down.
Oh, I put it down. It's all good.
Oh, what happened to your PFP R2 Degen?
Oh, actually, great. Good thing you mentioned that. I did change my PFP in AlphaMint to this R2D2 trash can that Josh Cottrell has so kindly made me as something I requested, and I'm trying to pull it up on Twitter here so I can find the full image. Actually, I probably just have it in my downloads folder. But yeah, I thought it was hilarious, and it actually looks kind of good as a profile picture. So I'm gonna keep that around on this Discord for a little bit. But yeah, big shout out to Josh, who normally is listening. I don't know if he is this morning.
And if you guys saw his Little Lemon Friends mashup,
Killed it.
Yeah, oh man, that thing looks so good, and it earned him a whitelist spot in Little Lemons right there on the spot. It was awarded to him. Very cool. You should check it out on his Twitter.
Right, guys, I'm gonna leave you guys to it. Absolute pleasure.
As always.
Same time, same place. Same time, same place tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yes, the new time. It's 9:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, no, I got a bit annoyed that I was reading the tweet. Was it the message from RTT saying like we regret to announce, and I was like, no, don't be like this.
Little pump fake on you all.
Oh, trust me. Right, thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks, Cass.
Later.
William.
Good morning, young Will.
Good morning, FMC. Good morning, R2D Gen. I'm not going to shamelessly plug my Genesis Mint on Foundation, but I am going to say to the community that if anybody writes well in English and wants to write on the subject of NFTs and crypto, get in touch with me. We pay. I'm actually taking over a crypto desk for a month. I'm going to see how it goes, and I've been asked to assemble a team of quality writers. So I'm hoping there's some talent from AlphaMint that I could actually poach if somebody would like to produce content. And if I stay. Maybe then it builds into could be something that you can do regularly. And even if I choose not to stay, or they choose not to have me as the chief editor, you can continue on. So if you want to write on this subject of NFTs and a lot of things that are discussed in AlphaMint, get in touch with me. That's all.
So this is a great opportunity. Are we allowed to say the name of the publication? They're pretty well known. They're pretty cool. I don't want to break anything we can't. I kind of knew.
Let's not right now, because one of the things I need to do is I need to put together my vision and fine tune and put together a roadmap, which is actually the easy part. The difficult part is actually being able to come back to them and saying, hey, I've started to assemble a team of quality writers. So I know there is one person that I've talked to in DMs that does write for some other publications. He's an AlphaMint member. He writes very good stuff, and I'm hoping that to get him on board. But I don't want to say everything until I can actually get my vision. Maybe I'll reveal that in the next few days. But thanks again for having me up here and letting me shout out.
And if you won't shill your project, please allow me to, because this is something that I am super impressed with. And if people don't know, one of the larger mini trends within NFTs right now would be photography. If you follow Whale Shark, whaleshark.pro, he was asking over the weekend for photography NFTs. Show me your favorite photographers. And then at the same time, there are quite a few high-profile ones like Drifter Shoots. If you follow this guy on Twitter, I'll drop the link, who takes very, very nerve-inducing shots from very, very high elevations. And his floor, I believe, is 20 or 30 ETH last time I checked. But Young Will is doing a style that is so unique and so amazing. He's relatively new to graphic art, but he is taking photos of real objects that he takes throughout his daily explorations, and he is composing them into some of the coolest NFTs and art that I've seen. And you should go check out his collection. This is the first one that he's posting to Foundation. There are more to come. And Will, if you would be so kind as to drop that link in the AM chat, both for me and everybody else listening, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do that. And yeah, there is a lot more to come. I'm not sure that Foundation will be the best vehicle just because the gas prices are eating me alive. But yeah, everything is photography based. Some of the pieces are 100% photographies. Some of the other pieces are 95% photography based, and none of these shapes were created digitally. And I go out. One of my inspirations is Stradivarius, who used to make violins and cut the wood when the moon was at a certain angle and the humidity was a certain type. I sort of do the same thing with my photos, and then I'll do the photo shoot when the cloud cover is just right and the sun is just right. So there is a lot of pre-production thought put into this. I'm not just some dude out there that's using clip art and assembling some crappy collages. So thanks again.
Yeah, it really comes through in the work. So we're going to all go check that out. Drop that link, and more to come. Very excited. Thank you, Will.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Will. Appreciate you always coming up here and talking. All right, we got Venom is been invited up onto the stage, and that'll be our last guest of the morning before we wrap it up. So, Venom, how are you doing today?
Good morning, guys. How are you guys doing?
Oh man,
Great, man.
Couldn't be better. Happy to be back on stage with Free Market.
Yeah, no, definitely. I love listening to you guys. Just kind of want to talk about some DJ and shit that's been going on. I guess what projects, honestly, are you guys looking towards that hasn't minted yet? I saw some Invisible Friends. Those popped up on my radar this week. Those look very Doodles-esque, and seem to be pretty solid. And then from like a Metaverse perspective, I honestly wanted to ask you guys if you'd heard or done too much research on Wilder World, because from what I've seen, I can link the article. It's super ambitious for a Metaverse. They haven't sold any land yet. I think they only really have released like 99 pairs of shoes and then like 10,000 cars, and it's pretty in depth, so excuse my ignorance to the subject, but yeah, like I guess one of the first things you're going to be able to do is like race for pink slips. The cars are around 0.7. Some cars that have like utility, like you'll own some of the land, are like 1.7. It's kind of a broad thing. I just didn't. They have a token already. It's like $4, so it's in between that mana and sand price point. And I just didn't know if you guys have seen it or what you guys thought of it at all.
I've heard the name over the weekend, but I have not looked into it at all. Can you drop some links, and then R2 and I will dig into it and talk about it tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, really ambitious. I definitely see it as a metaverse like that the bigger players like Fuck Render and 888, and I think that they're heavily like trying to facilitate the growth of this particular metaverse for whatever reason, and it's interesting because a couple of the points that I can pull up really quick. If my kid screams, I'm going to my main area, so I'm sorry. But there's one of the main points that was made about the metaverse was that, and I'll link this article, was that it was photorealistic graphics. It has seamless addition, seamlessly adding any other project and their currencies, and scalability for billions of users and trillions of unique assets. This is something that Decentraland, Sandbox, none of these have the ability to do currently.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm so convinced this is going to be the next mini trend within the trend that I want to gather as many plays as possible. So thank you for that one. And yeah, drop anything you know with links in the AM.
The article is right in general chat. I just just linked
Thank
it,
you.
and yeah, it was good to chat. Other than that, the super late night, little bit of like a nice story in NFTs. I didn't get the full gist of it. I guess this guy has this hot dog project, and his mother passed away of cancer or something along these lines. We in Kaiju Kings have been talking about hot dogs for the past like couple weeks now.
Huh.
So Dots last night, I guess, found the project, or maybe it was Young Neef. The Young Neef found the project. We all aped on it. There's only 250 of them. And then I'll throw you guys a little alpha. Dots is gonna be exchanging them 1-to-1 for failed experiments. So, and he's not, and this is, so there's only 250 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, he
If
did
you
say that. So
guys-
we all had a little bit of fun last night with that.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't seen the mutant previews that these failed experiments are gonna make, okay, Kaiju's is by far the cleanest pixel art currently in the game. The mutants look so fabulous, and the failed experiments NFTs are going for like between 0.25 and 0.3 on a regular basis. You're gonna combine them with a baby kaiju to make mutants, and they look so dope. So this is a cool play.
Interesting. Yeah.
Boys, that's it, man. Take care.
All right, I just
Enjoy
thought
the rest of your night.
You too.
Day,
You too.
whatever.
I wanted to mention, you were asking about mints coming up we're looking forward to. Of course, we're going to mention Little Lemon Friends. It's our most anticipated upcoming one. But I got a new one that I don't even know if I'm allowed to drop the Discord. But this is the Ban Rajesh Discord that I'm dropping in the AM show chat right now. I think these little cats look sick. They're little samurai pixel cats. And at least as far as the art, this is one of the cooler little projects I've discovered. There is literally a room in there that is titled Ban Rajesh. I think it's still there at least. Last time I checked, but this is another one with an upcoming mint that hasn't minted yet that I'm looking forward to. Could be worth working that whitelist.
Yeah, he does still have the channel in there. It's When Ban Rajesh. So that was a hilarious distraction for like probably a couple hours when we were all trying to like grind the whitelist for this Ronin cats, and then Rajesh jumped in there and I'm not advocating that AlphaMint goes into every Discord and blows it up the way that this happened, but they kind of played along with it for a little bit before putting slow mode in, and then it was pretty funny and enjoyable, and they were good sports about it. So, but like, let's not turn this into an AlphaMint trend.
No, I want to say something though. They have a whitelist address submission room, so if you are whitelisted, go submit your address. And what's cool, all Discord should do this going forward. You don't have permission to view the message history of whitelist address submission.
I can see Scott just posted in there.
Yeah, Scott just posted, but if you go into the room fresh, you can't see anyone's previous addresses. So I thought that's a cool feature that if you can implement in your Discord, you should. But yeah, I can see everyone's at
And
it's all AlphaMint now.
yeah, in pure AlphaMint
Everyone.
fashion, we say one thing and everybody's in there immediately. So, all right, yeah, Ronin Cat's pretty cool. Lemon Friends is coming up. Public sale on the 12th. Pre-sale starts on the 10th, I believe. And actually, a big shout out to everybody who's supported. Came out to listen to that interview and has subsequently watched it on YouTube. I think it's now officially our most viewed, at least Free Market and I's most officially viewed video. So pretty cool.
Yeah, and one person who may have watched that interview would be CloneX, creator of Cool Cats, who liked all the tweets involved in promoting it. So that is pretty cool to me.
Yeah, if you want a bull case on Little Lemon Friends, look no further than the creator of Cool Cats showing his support in all kinds of ways.
Yeah, I put the kaijus onto it over the weekend too. I said, go invade that room. Little Lemons is awesome. I think the Orc Alpha will get hyped up this week. I think it's going to be a successful mint. I hope it mints out slowly and people are like, oh no, so I can keep minting as many as my heart desires.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for him, and he's a great kid that's doing an awesome project. So yeah, but definitely keep on the lookout for that. That's probably our most anticipated right now. So Free Market, is there anything that you want to wrap up with this morning before we finish it up?
Good luck at the tables, guys.
Yeah, good luck at the tables. Again, thank you for all of our new members for joining us and taking a look at AlphaMint. If there's anything that you guys need, make sure you reach out to the team or the mods. We're all here to help and make this a great experience for you guys. So thank you so much, and we will do it again, as I mentioned earlier, going forward, 9:30 Eastern time. Every morning is the new time, so we will see you then.